we got pretty much relegated to, what I always call new wave nights, which was like the night that was like the least populated in a bar. So they would give you that night, like Tuesday night or something like that. Mm-hmm. But once we got going, there were good bands before us, but we kind of kick-started, to some extent, kind of a mini scene. It was like us and Scrawl and the Gibson Brothers, the Royal Crescent Mob. There were, and everybody eventually put out records, and Gibson Brothers were on Homestead just like us. And I'll give you a quick story of how we got on Homestead. So somehow our bass player at the time, Don Howland, he had just moved to Hoboken, but he was going to join us for a show that he actually got us into a show that Ira Kaplan from Yo La Tengo was one of the people who booked it. It was called Music for Dozens, and it was at Folk City in Manhattan.
Gertie's.
Where Dylan started.
Right.
It's not there anymore. We opened up for the Plugs, which I think had already, they changed their name to the Cruzados at that point, but we opened up for them. We had what I thought was a fairly ramshackle show, but I guess it was exciting enough that the guy who actually started Homestead, Sam Berger, was working at Dutch East India Trading. He came up to me afterward and said, "You guys were godlike." And he gives me his card. Already I was kind of like jaded and I'm like, yeah, who is this? Who is this bum? He's probably had a few drinks in him, and so Ron looks at it, and he's a record store guy. He worked in record stores all his life, and said like, no, Dutch East India is a real company. And so Dutch East distributed our first EP, and then Sam kind of got Homestead going, and we were one of the first people he signed up. So Homestead really wasn't anything when we started. It got to be more than it was, but especially once they started snagging people like Sonic Youth and Dinosaur and, stuff like that. Sure. I mean, go to New York, get discovered, woo, what a cliche.
I don't know. It's kind of a dream.
It was cool. It was very, we were kind of big shots for a minute in Columbus once we got that deal with a New York label,